This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Thursday, the 23rd day of May in the year 2019. Here is what we're tracking tonight. With the opposition PPP still boycotting sittings of the National Assembly, the government went ahead today and approved the $3.4 billion for the Guyana Elections Commission to host the next general elections in Guyana. Finance Minister Winston Jordan told the National Assembly this afternoon that the provision is not in anticipation of any ruling by the Caribbean Court of Justice, but rather it forms part of the commitment of President David Granger to the Guyana Elections Commission.
This provision, I want to say today, is not in anticipation of anything that the CCJ may or may not say or decide on. It is one in keeping with the President's commitment, even before the matter went to the CCJ, that after the Guyana Elections Commission chairman wrote to him requesting funding for the actual holding of the election, he had committed to giving the Elections Commission the resources.
Minister Jordan said the provision covers over 99% of the amount that was requested by the Guyana Elections Commission.
So, irrespective of the ruling of the CCJ, these monies will be made available to the Elections Commission for them to start the process of the elections proper. I think many people would have heard the advertisements already in relation to the house to house. Now this is the meat of it. This money is being provided to do the meat of the transactions.
A few months ago, President David Granger met with the chairman and commissioners of the Guyana Elections Commission. He requested and got documentation on GCOM's preparedness for the hosting of the next general elections and its needs. GCOM has said the $3.4 billion will cover all of its expenses for the successful hosting of general and regional elections, whether those elections are hosted this year or next year. The Commission has said that the earliest timeline that it could host elections would be at the end of November this year. More news coming up in just a moment.
Hello, baby. Yeah.
Knocked away from Young Huang.
Yo, why you gotta get away from shit credit, buddy? I recommend that you from blah blah. Let me watch the game. But it's not you that buy back the credit when it's done. Buy back like a shit money from Fab 5.
Activate the GTT Fab 5 plan today. For only $5,005, you get free unlimited calls to 4 of your closest family and friends, 5 gigs of data plus 250 text messages, and your Fab 5 friends can call you for free. GTT Fab 5.
Wait. So who we putting as we Fab 5? Yours.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong, be the one to live right.
Join in the celebration as Curtains and Drapery celebrates their 18th anniversary. During the month of May, all customers will enjoy 18% off on selected items in store. As we continue to celebrate, on the 25th, all customers will enjoy extra discounts while enjoying steel band music, snacks and refreshments, and gift giveaways. So come join the celebration. It's Curtains and Drapery's 18th anniversary. Curtains and Drapery, 110 Regent Street, between Albert and Light Street.
Welcome back. Well, elections must be on the horizon. Opposition leader Barra Jagdeo, who is chairing his party's manifesto committee, today offered a glance at some of the commitments and promises that his party will be making at the next elections. Mr. Jagdeo backed up his presidential candidate's position that the PPP would create 50,000 new jobs once elected to office. The party will be relying heavily on the oil sector for such an undertaking. But Mr. Jagdeo told reporters today that the 50,000 new jobs is actually conservative, and his party could actually create many more.
Many people say, the 50,000 jobs that you're promising is ambitious. And we actually believe, when we work through the numbers, that it is a conservative figure, that we can do even better than this because of our approach to various sectors.
Jagdeo said his party is currently working on a package of incentives to support job creation, and that will cover all sectors of the economy.
So the plans are being worked out. We're going to roll this out a bit more in greater detail at the launch of the manifesto. So for those who think that this is an ambitious number, the 50,000 jobs, this is a conservative number for us. We believe we can do much better because of the incentive programs that we are working on. The package of incentives to support the job creation, we're working on a package of incentives to all the sectors of our economy.
The opposition leader is also promising that some taxes will be reduced while other taxes will be abolished. He said his party has already identified which ones will be abolished and which ones will be reduced. Questioned about his party's issues with corruption, Mr. Jagdeo, who has in the past admitted that corruption existed under the PP civic government, said while the current government has also accused the past government of corruption, it has failed to point out the corrupt activities since taking office. Still with politics, President David Granger intends to head out on the campaign trail and lead the coalition's charge for the next elections. The president, who has completed all of his treatment for non-Hodgkin lymphoma, has recovered well, and he told reporters that he's ready to return to the campaign trail.
Campaigning, I'm no stranger to campaigning, and on the 1st of February this year, the APNU plus AFC established a campaign committee, as you know, on Friday the 1st, and I am the campaign director, and we'll be campaigning, and we expect to get back into, or to remain in office, unbroken.
President Granger said he is the chairman of the coalition's re-election campaign, and he believes that despite some challenges, the coalition is confident of being returned to office.
There have obviously been challenges, and I would not pretend that in every instance they've been successfully overcome. We have inherited some difficult situations, for example, in the sugar industry. The sugar industry was already in a state of decline. As you know, the previous administration shut down Diamond. They were amalgamating other estates. When they went into office, they were about 20,000 employees. And by the time they demitted office, they were down to about 15,000. So the previous administration knew that the industry was in decline, and that is one of the biggest challenges we face.
The APNU-AFC coalition has already started several community meetings and other activities as part of its election plan. Turning now to the court, Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire late yesterday afternoon ordered the release of Police Inspector Prem Narayan, who was sentenced to 7 days in jail by a city magistrate for misconduct in court. The Chief Justice's decision was as a result of an application to the High Court by the inspector's attorney, Everton Lammy Singh. In an appearance before the Chief Justice, the attorney argued that a 7-day sentence by Magistrate Rondell Weaver was unjustified. The attorney explained that the inspector was never informed of the charge against him and was never given an opportunity to mitigate before sentencing. Attorney Lammy Singh said the charge and sentencing were bad in law and excessive. The Chief Justice ordered that the inspector be released from custody. The inspector found himself in some hot water late yesterday afternoon in the courtroom of Magistrate Weaver when the two got into a back-and-forth argument over the way the magistrate was addressing him. The magistrate reportedly became frustrated as the police inspector repeatedly asked to see his written statements to refresh his memory, while on the witness stand providing evidence in a fraud case. When the magistrate discontinued the provision of the statement to the inspector and allegedly raised her voice at him, he became upset and told the magistrate he does not appreciate how she was speaking to him. The two got into an argument in front of the accused and in front of a number of attorneys in the court, and when the magistrate told the inspector to leave the stand and take a seat, he reportedly started to walk out of the courtroom instead. He was stopped by the magistrate, who told him that she was now citing him for contempt. She instructed a police officer to arrest the inspector, but the inspector raised his voice as he told the magistrate that he was not going to allow himself to be arrested by a junior rank. He was eventually held by the police as the magistrate sentenced him to 7 days in jail. She would later adjust the charge against him to misconduct in court. The inspector did not spend any time behind bars, as he was taken to a private hospital after complaining of feeling unwell. 3 years ago, the same police inspector was named the best cop in the Guyana police force. Well, as the Guyana Carnival celebrations continue on Friday night, several local and international designers will showcase their best pieces at the Guyana Fashion Showcase. The event is being held at the Ramada Princess Hotel at Providence, and according to the organizers, Guyanese fashion will be taken to a higher level at the event. Among the international models who will step out on the runway is Bobby Roger, who is known for his appearances in music videos for Beyonce. This is his third time in Guyana, and he said he is excited as if it was his first. Tickets for the event are available at the Ramada Princess Hotel at Providence. Showtime will be 8 p.m. Across the region is coming up next.
Falls, a trademark of China's Zhanghao Incorporated, located at Land of Cane and East Bank Demerara, was incorporated in April of 2013 with over $10 billion Guyana dollars invested in a state-of-the-art 100,000 barrel fuel storage facility, a modern service station, an office complex, and a modern wharf that can berth international vessels. Having no association with any other fuel company, Falls imports its own fuel, which meets quality specifications, has all the legal permits, and is in compliance with international requirements. Its bulk facility can load 8 trucks simultaneously at a rate of 1,000 liters per minute, while the service station can service 12 cars at a time using computerized fuel pumps, which can facilitate the use of ATM cards. Through its professional team of mostly Guyanese, Falls wholesales and retails fuels to the public, including farmers and miners, and will continue to positively contribute to Guyana by providing quality products, service, and attractive prices. Try Falls today for all your fuel needs.
Let's get ready to rumble! Guyana, get ready for one of the biggest sporting events in history, going down the 26th of May, when Team McNeil Cameron presents their first annual track and field championships, Mackenzie High School versus the Wisma Christianberg Secondary. It's going down at the MSC Ground, Linden. Starting time at 9 a.m. Admission, adults $500 and kids $300. Event is being sponsored by Banks DIA, Stars Party Rental, Tropical Reflections Restaurant Guyoil, Foreign Links Motor Spears, Power Producing and Distribution Inc., Super Graphics MoneyGram, and Bosai Inc.
As a luxury mechanic, I'm often asked, what gas should I use in my expensive vehicle? In other countries, you have regular and mid-grade gasoline known as 87, 89, and premium gasoline known as octane 93 to 95. For affordable, high-quality fuel, performance, and high mileage, visit Guyoil today. Choose Guyoil Super 95. Guyoil, we are everywhere.
Across the region right now, the Barbadian government appeared today set to walk away from its role as lead shareholder in the cash-strapped airline Liat, even as the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, remains tight-lipped on negotiations over the future of the airline. Briefly breaking her silence on a steady stream of reports from Antigua that the Barbadian government was negotiating the sale of its shares in Liat to St. John's, where the airline is based, Prime Minister Mia Mottley would only say that her country is still willing to support the struggling carrier, but not in its current format. In a response to journalists' questions, the Prime Minister said Barbados is committed to Liat and regional air travel, but will not be committed to Liat 1974 Limited, and that's the fundamental difference. Motley's comments today are the first indication that the Barbados government may have been wavering for weeks over its decades-long policy of unswerving commitment to the airline's viability. In St. Kitts and Nevis, a group of experts is being put together to provide technical support to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis on the way forward for the decriminalization of marijuana and the establishment of a medical marijuana industry. The group will consist of a broad body of persons in St. Kitts and Nevis and from across the diaspora, who will plan the build-out of the industry through the development of relevant policy, regulatory framework, and legislation. This comes as Dr. Timothy Harris-led government continues to adopt an orderly and structured approach to the creation of the marijuana industry in St. Kitts and Nevis. The process commenced with the task of the St. Kitts and Nevis National Marijuana Commission to undertake the necessary research and consultations to ascertain the public's position regarding the complex issues surrounding marijuana and its use. After a thorough and exhaustive process over roughly 15 months, the Commission presented its final report to the Office of the Prime Minister back in January. And finally tonight, international news. The U.S. Justice Department has filed 17 new charges against WikiLeaks co-founder Julian Assange, who is facing extradition from the United Kingdom. The latest charges accuse him of receiving and unlawfully publishing the names of classified sources. He was previously charged last month on one count of conspiring with ex-intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning to gain access to the Pentagon network. Assange is serving a jail sentence in the UK for breaching bail conditions. The 47-year-old was found guilty last month after his arrest at the Ecuadorian embassy, where he had sought refuge since 2012 over sexual assault allegations in Sweden. He denies any wrongdoing. The new indictment says Assange conspired with Manning in order to obtain and disclose secret US files, and also exposed and endangered confidential sources in the Middle East and China. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting.